Now, Secure Score is looking very much at the technical controls that we have available to us that we can implement. So there's another really great tool that a lot of people aren't too aware of that I just wanted to highlight today. Again, just with this sort of concepts of today's session of how secure is my environment. And we have Microsoft Compliance Manager, and it's part of the 365 Compliance Center. There's been an awful lot of development in the whole Compliance Center area over the last couple of years, particularly. I think we saw it really ramping up in the run-up to GDPR a few years back, of course, when it came in, with a lot of search tools and tools to help us with that compliance, and it's only expanded ever since. Compliance Manager within the Compliance Center helps us if we need to adhere to regulatory compliance standards. And I'll mention some of the ones that are covered in just a moment. So it can actually, again, similar to Secure Score, it looks at our environment. It will measure us and benchmark us against the relevant standard that we're looking at. And then again, it will also help you with improvement actions. So again, if you are needing to adhere to certain compliance standards, this is a really great tool to help you. And even if you're not, frankly, it could be one that's worth keeping more of an eye on and looking at, because even if you didn't necessarily need to achieve an ISO, there could be elements of a particular ISO, perhaps information security, that would be beneficial. So it may be worth looking at, can we implement some of those to bolster our security and compliance posture, even if we're not going the whole hog, as it were, for the full standard. So it's a really good tool in that sense. And as with some of the Azure tools that Cassandra showed earlier, we get some nice dashboards here. So monitoring our overall score gives us those improvement actions, as I mentioned, in the various different areas, and breaks down how the score is comprised from the different areas of our environment. So really, really good information here to help us really understand exactly where we are and where we need to be going as well. So again, another really good dashboard to monitor there. I mentioned the sorts of standards that are that Compliance Manager can help you with. There's an awful lot. I've just taken this as a quick snippet from the list on the Microsoft Docs page. There's many, many more. It literally is worldwide. So on a global basis, we've got the wide range of ISO available there. For a bit closer to home, specifically UK, we've got various things such as Data Protection Act, Cyber Essentials, and some others as well. But this is just a little snapshot. There are many more regional lists available on the Microsoft Docs page for Microsoft Compliance Manager. So if you are actually an organization that works internationally, you've got to adhere to standards from another country around the world, then there's a good chance it could be listed in here as well. And there are similar sort of things and frameworks available in Azure as well. I think Cassandra touched on those briefly earlier too. So it's a really good tool to help you if you're going down this road. So we've now covered Secure Score, we've covered Compliance Manager. We're now building up a really good picture of how particularly I'm focusing on Microsoft 365 environment looks. And then coming back with all the great Azure tools that Cassandra covered, we're now building up some really good pictures of how secure our cloud environments are. What I just wanted to finish and round out with, though, if we're looking at how secure our environments, I do just want to drill in just for a moment into Cyber Essentials. So Cyber Essentials is actually a UK government-backed security standard. So it covers really all the basics of cybersecurity for our whole organization. And I like to think of it about 70–80% technical controls and about 20–30% business control, such as change management, user leaver process, that sort of thing. But it's a really good tool, and it's really complementary for organizations, because Cyber Essentials doesn't just look at your cloud environment. It doesn't just look at your SaaS applications. It looks at your whole technology and data environments across your organization. So whether that is in Microsoft Azure, whether it's in Microsoft 365, whether it's in AWS, whether it's an on-premise data center, whether it's a hosted data center, it really doesn't matter. It looks at the whole lot as a complete big picture. And that's why I'm really passionate about it, because it is that big picture. It helps you build up and look at everything. Very easy. We're talking about all the great tools from Microsoft today. Very easy to secure and look at and get caught up in securing our cloud environments. But what about those on-prem environments, our AWS environment, our SaaS applications, and so on? So Cyber Essentials is a great framework for helping look at that and put structure around looking at that big picture of everything. It's broken down into 5 key areas, as we've got there, and it is looking at all the basics. So our firewalls, our internet gateways, and when we look at moving more to a cloud environment, I spoke about this changing, environments at the beginning. Cyber Essentials supports that. So instead of a firewall on an Office gateway, that's fine. We now look at our Azure firewalls. We look at our software firewalls using Windows Defender firewall, for example, on our laptops. So it's the content is the same. The requirement is the same. We're just shifting the technology we use. Secure configuration. How do we actually configure our devices? How are they actually running? Can untoward software actually take advantage of being able to automatically run and go off and do things in the background without realizing? Patching, hugely important for probably obvious reasons these days, keeping us up to date and making sure we're managing that across all of our environments. Our access control, we're looking at MFA, we're looking at people having separate admin accounts and various other things there. And then finally, our malware protection. And it's really about this layered approach that says, look, if some malware gets in and it tries to run privilege escalation, then it's probably going to get stopped there. Even if it manages to escalate, can something else stop it after that? So it's step by step that hopefully mitigates the headline risks. People tend to go for it for a number of reasons. One is that it's a good framework and it helps put that structure in and reassure your partners and customers that you take security seriously. There is a official list of companies who are compliant. It's available via the National Cybersecurity Centre website, the NCSC. And equally as well, it can actually help you attract new business because, of course, you've got the appropriate security measures in place. That does extend on as well, that there is a lot of contracts these days and tenders that will actually require you to have cyber essentials, especially in the government and private public sector space. So it's a really great standard, and I'll just really want to round out almost to bring everything back together, because we can use all these tools that Cassandra's spoken about, that I've spoken about. They're really good tools to help us feed into that big picture view that Cyber Essentials then helps with. And we can help you with that. That's something that I also work with organisations on, is to help them take them through that standard, run the audits to help towards that compliance.